This Twins A's series is brought to you by the all-new Chrysler 200, America's import. Another beautiful night for baseball at Target Field, and the Twins are hoping another beautiful night for a win and a chance to extend their streak to 6 straight victories as they face the Oakland A's. After an awful start, Paul Molitor has his team turned around with 8 wins in their last 10 games, third best record in baseball in that span, an incredible reversal of fortune. Tonight, Trevor May makes his second career start against the A's. Trevor made his major league debut against Oakland last year, and in a word, it was a nightmare. 2 innings, 7 walks, an 18.00 ERA. Jesse Chavez gets the call for the A's. He was impressive in his only start against the Twins last season. We welcome you to Twins baseball on Fox Sports North. A Twins' tremendous turnaround is the result of a variety of factors, but most importantly, their bats. Over the last 10 games, they've been booming, Tim.
They have been booming. There's been, Tom, a big, giant crowd around the bat rack, guys, wanting to find some kind of a way to get into the ball game so that they can get a pile of hits. There's a lot of guys trying to make eye contact with the manager to try to get in the lineup some way, somehow. A .314 batting average, over 6 runs a game, 33 extra base hits, and what it's done is that it's allowed them to try to improve their home record, 8-2 at home as of late. And who's done all the damage? Well, you can go up and down the lineup. It's not just one guy. Earlier in the season, Joe Mauer was trying to carry this ball club, but lately it's been Brian Dozier, Torrey Hunter, Trevor Plouffe, Danny Santana, even Kenny Vargas getting into the limelight and getting some hits. Brian Dozier back in that leadoff spot. He's much more comfortable. Torrey Hunter, second in the order. He likes that spot. Trevor Plouffe, he assumes the cleanup position. Danny Santana moves down to the 9th spot. He can focus on his defense. Offense will come, and Kenny Vargas settling in as the DH as well. So everybody up and down the lineup providing offense for these Minnesota Twins, improving their home record.
Still to come, Dick and Bert focus on May, the man, not the month. Trevor May will try to maintain his momentum tonight on the mound for the Minnesota Twins.
is presented by Menards. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. By the all-new Chrysler 200, America's import. And by Budweiser, still brewed the hard way. This Bud's for you.
It's game 2 between the Athletics and the Twins, and Trevor May hopes to pitch the Twins 3 games above the 500 mark, hoping to pick up his 4th big league win against the team he debuted against, the Oakland A's. And we welcome you to Target Field. Dick and Bert with you for game 2. The Twins hope to make it 6 wins in a row. And they'll send to the mound a man who made his major league debut against the Oakland A's. He was nervous. He had a hard time throwing strikes. And he's a much better pitcher now.
What do you mean? 7 walks in 2 innings. That's not bad. But, you know, Trevor Way, sometimes you have to wait a long time to hopefully go back to the opponent on who you started your career with. And that was the Oakland A's in Oakland. Now, Trevor May has been pitching very good baseball over his last 3 starts. Very good ERA. 15 innings pitched, 13 strikeouts, only 2 walks. And I think that's the biggest thing we have seen from Trevor May, doing a better job of attacking the strike zone.
And the Twins have a chance to win 6 in a row and make this one of the best homestands in Target Field history when we come back.
Older and wrinklier.
A guy you always listen to.
He always tells me, he goes, see what happens, because you never know.
Glad to have him.
Respect the heck out of him.
Knows how to have fun, but when he walks down that tunnel, it's game on. Give me Torrey Hunter.
And Torrey's delivered a couple of clutch hits in his first 5 weeks back with the Twins. A big one last night that helped the Twins extend their winning streak to 5 games. Melvin hoping that the A's can figure things out. They've lost 7 one-run games this year, and the Twins are hoping this is the beginning of a trend where they can pay some people back, and the Oakland A's should be pretty high on their list based on how they played against them the last few years. The Menards batting order for game 2: Billy Burns, Marcus Semien, Josh Reddick, Billy Butler, Stephen Vogt, one of the hottest hitters in the league. Then Ike Davis, Brett Laurie, Mark Canha, and Eric Sogard.
And, you know, Dick, one guy that's on the mound here tonight, Trevor May, wants to show the Oakland A's, hey, you know what, that was my major league debut back on August of last year. Yeah, I pitched 2 innings, I walked 7, gave up 4 runs and 3 hits. That wasn't me. And Trevor May has an opportunity here tonight to show them the real Trevor May.
Northland Ford defense for the Minnesota Twins. Eduardo Escobar in left, Jordan Schaefer in center, Torrey Hunter in right. If you have last night's score sheet, scorecard, you can just copy the names down. Everybody's back where they were. With Trevor May, the difference, he's making the start for the Twins tonight. Todd Tishner has the plate. Clint Fagan, Mike Everett, Tim Timmons, the umpires. Billy Burns will lead things off for Oakland. Oakland last night scored 4 runs in the first inning.
Yeah, Burns jumped on that first fastball, hit a double down that left field line.
After the first pitch again and flips it foul.
Burns in only his 4th major league game. A couple stints already this year with the Oakland A's. Started the season down in AAA.
Slow breaking ball drops over. It's 0-2. The A's on a bit of a roll, not in the 1-loss column, but in terms of run scoring. They've scored 7 runs, exactly 7 runs in each of their last 4 games. This one slapped down the line, and Burns has another hit. Escobar will try to fire it back in. He got there quick enough to hold Burns to a single.
Well, on an 0-2 pitch, you want to make a better pitch than Trevor May did right there. We saw it in the first inning last night. Phil Hughes, too many pitches right down the middle of the plate, trying to go inside, and you see that ball having too much of the plate, and Burns just slapping it the other way.
Marcus Semien will bat. And had some first inning difficulty in his last start against the White Sox, but got some help from his fielders. Strike 1.
May, 25 years old. This is his 14th major league start. 5 wins, 7 losses in his career. Trevor May, pretty quick home. There's yet to be a stolen base off of May yet. Excuse me, 1 stolen base. 66 innings pitched at the major league level.
And now 1-1. May gave up 10 hits to the White Sox over 5 2/3 innings, 9 singles and a double. He was helped out in the first inning with Eduardo Escobar, or excuse me, Shane Robinson throwing out a runner at the plate in the first inning. Gave up 2 runs in the 3rd inning and scattered the hits the rest of the way. But given the fact that he only has 3 walks in 4 starts, long hold. And time called.
I think we see that with young kids, though, Dick. You know what? I mean, May hasn't had a lot of major league starts, even though he's 25 years old, a lot of time in the minor leagues. But you come up here, you try to make every pitch perfect, and that sometimes runs that pitch count up.
Burns takes off, and he's in handily with a stolen base.
So Burns, who's in the minor league, stole 184 bases, collects his first major league stolen base.
Here we go.
He had attempted once before and got caught.
Two and 1 to Semien. And now 3-1.
I take that back. May actually last year Burns stole 3 bases last year. So he steals his first base this year.
High fly to short center field. Burns might set up for a tag. And Schaefer comes up firing to Santana, 1 away. And that'll bring up Josh Reddick. And he's been on a tear. Last week's American League Poll Player of the Week.
Yeah, currently on a 12-game hitting streak. That's a career high for him. And you see what he's been able to do. Drive in 15 runs. Score 12 runs. And hitting almost 500.
And Reddick
will hit in front of Billy Butler. May with the inside look, getting Burns back to second base. Mentioned the A's have been scoring a lot of runs, 7 runs in each of the last 4 games, but to give you some idea about the issues that they've had, they're only 2-2 in those 4 games. If you score 7, you should win 90% of the time.
It's supposed to be a lucky number.
Well, it wasn't last night for the A's. They did score 7, but they left a little meat on the bone in the first inning. One and 0 to Reddick. Down low 2-0.
That changeup just missing.
We've already seen May mix his pitches up more than Phil Hughes did last night, when Hughes just kept pumping fastballs in through the first inning.
Came back with a better changeup throw for a strike. I thought Phil Hughes, even though he threw 35 pitches in that first inning, did a good job getting through 6 innings.
See May with 11 pitches, curveball, a couple of changeups. High fly to short left, hanging in the air for Escobar. 2 down. When May made his major league debut against the A's, it was hard to watch. Frankly, he could not throw strikes. Now, in his return match with the A's, he's the polar opposite. He's displayed very good control and has, as we said, in 4 starts walked just 3 men. So he'd like to show the new and improved Trevor May to the Oakland A's, who couldn't have been too impressed with his major league debut. Here is Butler. Suzuki slides to his right. Ball 1. Bob Melvin, before the game today, was talking about Butler. Got a base hit in his first at bat last night. Said he thinks he's just about ready to break out. Like some things that he saw in his at bats, trying to take the ball up the middle, which is his strength.
Yeah, he came into last night's ball game 0 for 20, only 1 hit and 31 at bats, and got a base hit.
Everybody's going to get a fly ball the way it looks. Hunter can't make the play. He reached over the barrier, and then I think the barrier knocked the ball out of his glove. And we'll hope Torrey's okay.
He took that glove off, kind of shaking that left arm. Torrey going over. Left shoulder hitting the padding.
I think he thought he had it all the way. The wall kind of sneaked up on him. Thankfully, plenty of padding there. We will trust that Torrey is okay. One and 1 to Butler. Low, 2-1.
Yeah, Billy Butler signing as a free agent by the Oakland A's over the winter. Always a good hitter. Career .295 hitter coming into this season, his 9th season. Good numbers against the Twins.
Breaking ball, single to right. Hunter comes up, come up firing to second base. And Butler given a bit of a reprieve on the foul ball down the line that Torrey couldn't quite grab. Answers with an RBI single.
One thing we have seen Billy Butler over his years with the Kansas City Royals from 2007 to last year, he utilizes the whole field. Watch him right here on this breaking ball. Doesn't try to pull it, just takes that breaking ball the other way between first and second, and picking up an RBI, his 13th of the year, as Burns scores.
Bring up white hot Stephen Vogt. Vogt hit a grand slam in his first at bat yesterday. Strike 1.
second in the American League in hitting right now at 372.
And missing one. Stephen Vogt's been a T-Mobile game changer among catchers this season. Ranked among all catchers in baseball. Vogt ranks first in batting average, home runs, RBI, and slugging percentage. A late bloomer. A week or so ago, he had his 500th major league at bat. He was a minor league veteran. Never really got a chance to break through to the big leagues.
Came up with the Rays in 2012. Played in 18 ball games, went 0 for 25. And traded over to the Oakland A's.
2-2. Was a first baseman, outfielder, DH type last year. Had a foot issue that kept him from catching. Of course, last year the A's had Derek Norris, an all-star catcher. Put up big numbers offensively. 2-2. There's a called third strike. A 2-out single for Billy Butler has the A's on the board, but unlike last night, it's just a single run. Enjoying a 5-game winning streak. Has a great homestand so far. 6-2 so far on the homestand. The Menards batting order: Brian Dozier, Torrey Hunter, Joe Mauer, Trevor Plouffe, Kurt Suzuki, Kenny Vargas, Eduardo Escobar, Jordan Schaefer, Danny Santana.
And it'll be right-handed pitcher Jesse Chavez on the mound, making his third start. His 7th game, just put into the rotation about 10 days ago. Both the starts coming against the Angels. He lost both those ball games.
Dozier fouls the first pitch. 1 strike. Dozier started the game with a double last night and was left the board. Center hit hard. Burns is there to catch the line drive. 1 down. That'll bring up Torrey Hunter. Northland Ford defense for the A's. They've had a lot of issues in the outfield. 9 outfield errors. Tonight they line up with Canna, Burns, and Reddick across the outfield. Laurie, Semien, Sogard, Davis, the infielders, and both behind the plate.
Yeah, 23 errors. Only the Texas Rangers have made more errors in the American League.
1 down, and here's Hunter. Swing and a miss. Big 3-run home run. Gave the Twins just enough cushion to win game number 5 in a row.
pulled toward the hole and through. So Hunter's aboard with the first hit.
Chavez's last start came here back on April 9th last season. His mound opponent was Phil Hughes. And in that ball game, he worked 7 innings, only gave up 1 run, no walks, and a career high at that time 9 strikeouts. Ended up getting a no decision in that ball game.
Here is Mauer. The average has taken a hit over the course of this homestand, down to 290 now. And a strike on the outside corner. We mentioned the A's have scored a lot of runs, 7 to be exact in each of the last 4 games. Twins have averaged nearly 7 runs per game on this homestand. And in 1-1.
Twins don't have a lot of at-bats against Chavez. They did see a lot of him when he was a reliever. He's kind of a spot starter. A couple starters went out for the Oakland A's, so they called on Chavez again, like they did last year. He made 21 starts in 32 games, won 8 ball games.
Usually when you were sitting behind the Astros, statistically, you wouldn't be very happy with that. That'd be a cause for concern. Twins right behind the Astros on the chart we just showed you. And suddenly that means something good's happening too.
I like charts.
1-2 to Mauer. Just off the outside corner at 94 miles per hour.
Chavez has a very good arm. He's 31 years old. They list him at 6'2", 160 pounds. When he signed originally with the Rangers, they said, we better double his meal money.
And outside now 3-2 with Plouffe. The rotation for the A's over the last several years just almost seems like a revolving door. There are very few starting pitchers who stay in the organization for more than a year or two. And in fact, Chavez started in the bullpen, moved into the rotation.
Does that mean Sonny Gray is going to be available pretty soon? He's a great pitcher. Billy Bean's probably saying, I can get something for him.
Hunter takes off. Bauer strikes out, and Hunter is thrown out. So the inning ends with a strike him out, throw him out. And the A's have a 1-0 lead after 1.
Jordan Schaefer gets a start in center field once again after a great complete effort from him last night. He went 3 for 3 at the plate with 2 RBI, but the highlight of the night was a tumbling catch to end an A's threat in the 8th inning. That catch even earned him a hug from his manager in the dugout, which Schaefer told me kind of caught him off guard. Paul Molitor said he was just so happy to see some hard work paying off for Schaefer. It hasn't been easy for him most of this season, but Molitor keeps giving him more opportunities, and lately, guys, Schaefer has responded well.
Thank you, Jamie. Strike one on a foul ball to Ike Davis.
Yeah, Schaefer 8 hits in his last 18 at-bats.
Best game as a Twin, 3 hits, and made the big play in the 8th inning. A's with a run in the first. Davis, Laurie, and Canna will hit inside 1-1. A's have lost 8 of their last 11 ball games. Half swing, and home plate umpire Todd Tishner said he went 1-2.
A good hard breaking ball down, and Davis going a little bit too far.
Pop up short right. Dozier out for the catch. One away.
Good change up right there. Had Davis a little out front. Created that pop up.
Last night, Schaefer with 3 hits. All over the field defensively. Made a great catch.
Took that sinker down that left field line. Picked up an RBI. Actually drove in 2 runs last night. And this one here. Got to get lucky sometimes. That scored Vargas. And then here's the catch. He came diving in at. Check. Right shoulder right there. He jammed it a little bit, and I asked him this afternoon how it felt. He said he was all right.
I asked him about his demeanor after he made the catch that was not ruled a catch by tonight's home plate umpire Todd Tishner. And I mean, just think about it. The advent and the presence of replay has brought everybody's blood pressure down in baseball a couple of points. If Schaefer had made that catch and it had been ruled no catch without replay, he would have come up. He might have gotten ejected. He would have had every reason to be upset. But he just calmly looked at the umpire and said, "No, I got it. Take a look at it."
And that probably saved Paul Molitor from maybe getting ejected.
Tapper up the line foul. And it's just, you know, a perfect example right there about why replay to me is just wonderful. Nobody overreacted. Guy made a great catch. He knew he made the catch. The umpire did, as I suppose umpires are supposed to do. It's easier to say no catch and let the play continue and have it overturned than to imagine a catch that wasn't made, and now you've got to try to figure out where are we going to put the runners, what would have happened, and all that. Strikeout for out number 2.
A good 92-mile-an-hour fastball by May to pick up his 2nd strikeout.
2 down, and here's Canna. Hit a long home run in the 2nd deck here.
See, I'm the opposite, Dick. I kind of like the argument. Like
you
that.
would.
Yeah.
You would like
Why
that.
not?
This is a gentleman's game. This is meant to be.
No, it's not. Not a gentleman's game.
Sure it is.
You're out to beat the heck out of the other team.
And you can, but there's no reason to be unreasonably angered.
You have to play this game angry.
No, you don't.
Yes, you do.
We'll be broadcasting it angry here pretty soon. Inside.
Have I made you angry yet?
Getting there. 2-1 to Canna.
Canna hit a home run in last night's ball game. That coming in the 6th inning.
Missing inside. I like the way May is mixing his pitches up. He's very unpredictable. I don't know that his command is exactly where he would like it, but you know, it's 3-1 count. I don't know that Canna's necessarily going to get a fastball.
Okay,
here.
now 3-1. You have to go fastball away. Trust it away. Good pitch.
But like Phil Hughes was victimized by leaving some of those fastballs up. May put that one right down on the knees. Full count.
Followed up with another one.
Pulled to third, right at Bloof. And a good 1-2-3 inning in the second for Trevor May. Thursday, it's Lee County Day as the Twins take on the Oakland A's. First 10,000 fans get a pair of Twins flip-flops, courtesy of the beaches of Fort Myers and Sanibel. Come in sizes small, medium, large, XL. Go to twinsbaseball.com tickets. Get your tickets today. I'm glad I included the word pair.
Right. Yeah, it'd be tough to only get one.
One flip-flop. Of course, I suppose then 20,000 fans could get them.
True.
But what would you do with just one flip-flop? You would just flip.
You wouldn't flop.
You wouldn't flop. Half the fun of wearing them is to hear the flop after the flip.
Well, Chavez going about his business. He likes to work quick. He has come out and said that. I want my guys to be ready. So he's utilizing that fastball. Good changeup right there. Had a little sink on it. Only 10 pitches in the first inning for Chavez.
1-2 to Trevor Plouffe. Off the plate, 2-2. Suzuki and Vargas will follow. And late fastball came inside. He got strike three. 2 strikeouts now for Chavez. Sanford Health Injury Report. Hanley Ramirez trying to get used to everything there is to get used to about left field at Fenway Park, and he found out last night there isn't much foul territory.
Yep. Yeah, he hit that padding and banged off of that. Ended up hurting himself, strained that left shoulder.
Isn't much fair territory in left field either, but he had problems with the sidewall at Fenway. Here's Suzuki, and outside ball 1. Twins trying to get to 3 games over 500. The last time the Twins were 3 games over 500 was the end of the 2010 season where they went to the playoffs and won 94 games. It's been a long drought here in Minnesota, and we probably don't need to tell you that. Remarkable turnaround within the first few weeks of the season. 1-1 to Suzuki, and chases a pitch outside. 1-2.
That's that hard little cutter that Chavez came up with. Now, Suzuki should know what he throws. He caught Chavez back in 2013. Chavez and he were teammates.
tip. Another strikeout. 3 straight strikeouts now for Chavez. That'll bring up Vargas. Tonight's Cold Hard Facts brought to you by Clean Crisp Coors Light. Kenny Vargas with 8 hits over his last 5 games after having just 4 in his previous 9 games. The Twins sat him down, got him some extra work in the batting cage, and it seems to be paying off.
A little more relaxed, trying to be a little more selective, be ready for that fastball, and a good take right there on a good sinker.
Taking some pitches, that's something we've seen him do, unlike Danny Santana has a hard time taking pitches. Oswaldo Arcia has a tough time taking pitches. And at the knees, 1-1. Vargas's bat showing some signs of life. One of the reasons the Twins have scored a lot of runs lately. Pulled foul, tapped toward the dugout, and it's 1-2.
Here tonight, Chavez making just his 26th major league start, his 230th game, so a lot of time in that bullpen.
Rolled to the right side, easy play for Sogard. An easy second inning for Chavez. You're watching the A's and Twins, brought to you by the all-new Chrysler 200, America's import.
CenturyLink, your link to what's next. By NorthlandFord.com and your local Northland Ford dealer. And by Grand Casino. The best stories start here.
Trevor May giving up a couple of singles, a stolen base, and a run in the first. That's it so far as we head to the third. Eric Sogard will lead things off. That's Billy Burns and Marcus Semien.
Yeah, I want to take a bunt away from this guy right here. Good speed, Sogard. Trevor Plouffe playing in, almost on the grass.
He's had a couple of bunt hits in the game last night. Foul back. 1-1.
Sogard in his 6th season with the A's, originally signed by the Padres. Traded over from the Padres in 2010.
Breaking ball in the dirt.
As every player has for Oakland.
You were mentioning about who might be traded. Would Chavez or Sonny Gray be traded? This one poked to right. Hunter toward the line, has to play it on a hop, and Sogard has a leadoff hit. Another single for the A's. Tomorrow's starters, Scott Kazmir would have seemed to be a likely candidate to be traded. He can be a free agent after this year.
just reaching down, not a bad pitch, but Sogard just hitting it right in front of Torrey Hunter. Torrey playing that first hop and getting it back in.
Now Burns on the roster because Coco Crisp has been out. Crisp on the verge of rejoining the A's. Don't know what that's going to mean for Burns, but he's made an impression on the Twins. Breaking ball over for a strike.
Yeah, the A's have 9 players on the disabled list. Coco Crisp, one of those. And Coco Crisp coming off right elbow surgery. He's rehabbing now.
Inside, 1-1.
They list Burns at 5'9", about 180. Again, this young man can fly. 5 minor league seasons, a .290 minor league hitter. Not much power. And Oakland on this season. They have now 15 stolen bases. They've been caught only 3 times.
Got some power, 25 home runs. Vogt with 7, Cano with 4, Reddick with 4, Semien with 3 of them, Butler with 3. It seems to be a team built more around speed. Could be a double play grounder. Santana to the bag, fires to Mauer, 2 down. And that'll bring up Semien. Girls on the Run. Twin Cities uses running to inspire girls to be healthy and confident. Saturday, May 30th, join Fox Sports North at the University of Minnesota for the Girls on the Run Spring 5K. Register, visit foxsportsnorth.com, click on upcoming events. 2 down, and now Semien hit a fly ball to center his first time up, and strike 1. May was assigned to Rochester. Cut with about a week and a half, I guess, left in spring training. Never made an appearance for the Red Wings. Burns the outside corner at 92 miles per hour.
He was called up when Ricky Nolasco was put on a disabled list.
So now Nolasco's back in the rotation, and the odd man out is Tommy Malone. Missed the inside corner, 2-2. At some point, I think we're safe to assume that Irvin Santana will join the rotation.
Well, what's nice, the Twins, you know, the ones that are out right now, I mean, Malone in AAA, and then you have Santana will come back in July, can never have enough good starting pitching. Something the Twins really haven't had over the last 4 years.
Full count to Semien. And high and tight. May is a little upset with himself. I think he takes it as a point of pride to not walk people. A 2-out walk will get Reddick to the plate.
That first walk for May. They'll go with his 2 strikeouts.
I would be surprised, and I've been surprised many times, but I would be surprised if Tommy Malone isn't back in this rotation at some point this year. Things happen. They always happen. Look at what happened to the Twins before the season was 3 games old. They had their number 2 starter suspended, their number 3 starter on the disabled list. Ball 1. Alex Meyer had an encouraging outing yesterday. He's yet to make his major league debut.
We got another youngster down in AA, Jose Barrios. He has very good stuff.
There's some, again, to your point, there's some insulation, though, between Barrios at AA and the big leagues. And if the Twins have a need, they've got Malone, Meyer, some other candidates that could, you know, come up and fill in should the need arise. Barrios hasn't dominated AA by any means. He's got an ERA of 3.5, I believe. Perry Ryan will leave
Thursday to go take a week-long look at the Chattanooga Lookouts. Semien a base stealer, and May, aware of that, is keeping an eye on it.
4 for 4 in stolen base attempts.
And now 2-1. Suzuki wants to have a chat. A's won 6 of the 7 games last year. They swept the Twins here, nearly swept the Twins in a 4-game series in Oakland. Quick trip to the mound by Kurt Suzuki.
Yeah, there was a span that the A's beat the Twins 12 straight games before Phil Hughes beat them the last time they met last year. I like that little visit by Suzuki was basically, okay, just keep them close, but remember, make good pitches toward home plate. Don't worry that much about that runner. You have 2 outs.
Pitching to the middle of the lineup. Now 3-1 to Reddick. Reddick had a right knee issue last year that slowed him down. Hoping for a healthy and productive 2015. A fly to left. And Escobar with the catch. 2-out walk does no damage. It's still 1-0.
A's on the board with a RBI single that scored Burns, who led off the ball game with a base hit, stole second, and Jesse Chavez has been outstanding. 3 strikeouts, faced 6 batters. Did give up a hit to Torrey Hunter, but then a little strike him out, throw him out to end the first inning. Chavez has thrown only 23 pitches, 16 for strikes.
Eduardo Escobar to lead things off in the 3rd. Speed pitch a little bit high. Ran into Oswaldo Arcia today. He said his hip feels a lot better, but it doesn't matter. He's on the disabled list. He could go into Paul Molitor's office doing handsprings, and it won't matter. I don't think that's going to happen. So hit to the left center field gap, but over a few steps is Burns. Another well hit ball for out number 1.
Well, Escobar in last night's ball game, a couple doubles and a single, 3 hits, and then here comes Jordan Schaefer, who had a great night. We mentioned before, a double, RBI double, base hit, infield base hit. So 6 through 9 last night really contributed.
Escobar and Schaefer outfielders, and then of course the other outfielder, Torrey Hunter, hit the big 3-run home run. All of it conspired to help keep Eddie Rosario on the bench tonight. Kind of hard to fit an outfielder in when Escobar had 3 hits, Schaefer had 3 hits, and Hunter had the biggest hit of the ball game. 1 strike to Schaefer.
good homestand here, hitting .444 over the last 6 games. There's Rosario, might be in the lineup tomorrow. 1-1.
His parents flew in from Puerto Rico to hopefully watch him play some big league ball.
To the left, Hannah retreating a few steps. 2 down. Bring up Danny Santana. A limited number of season tickets are now available in the Delta Sky 360 Legends Club. Experience every home game in the always comfortable Legends Club. Padded seats, unique food items, in-seat service, and everything that makes the Delta Sky 360 Legends Club the perfect combination of luxury and baseball. Learn more about the package options by visiting twinsbaseball.com or by calling 800-33-TWINS for Legends Club season ticket information. Danny Santana showed bunt, took a pitch up, ball 1. Santana drew a walk last night, his first walk of the year, and he got it trying to drop down a sacrifice bunt. 1-1. Strike 2. Santana looks back at Todd Tishner.
Chavez attacking, throwing strikes.
And Santana strikes out.
Good changeup.
And Chavez has a nearly perfect first trip through the Twins batting order. You're watching the A's and Twins, brought to you by the all-new Chrysler 200. Sports Live will get you caught up on a full night of NHL and NBA playoff action, plus highlights of today's MLB games. See Fox Sports Live tonight on Fox Sports 1, or see it simulcast right here on Fox Sports North. Butler takes strike 1 from Trevor May. 3 hits for the A's. All singles. 2-out walk. Swing and a miss. Oh, 2. Vogt on deck. And then Ike Davis. Tapped foul over near the photographer's well.
Yeah, it was an 0-2 pitch that Billy Burns got that base hit in the first inning, and When you're ahead 0-2, you want to, like that breaking ball right there, you want to bury that breaking ball on the other side of home plate. He left it up there for Billy Butler. He could foul it off.
Up the middle, and it'll bleed through for a hit.
You know what? And then sometimes you have to tip your hat to a good hitter, a career almost 300 hitter. That was a pretty good pitch. A Butler hit right back up the middle.
Leadoff hit, and now Stephen Vogt, our Carsoup.com trivia question, who was the last catcher to lead a league in home runs?
Ron Hasse.
Just because you helped him toward league leadership doesn't mean everybody else did. Neil Allen tells a story about when he was a pitcher with the Mets. And Joe Torre was the manager. Joe Torre had Bob Gibson as the pitching coach for the Mets. It seems a little displaced now. Gibson, the Hall of Fame Cardinal, but he actually was the pitching coach for the Mets. And Allen and some of the other Mets pitchers were giving up too many 0-2 base hits. Now Gibson, and you know him about a lot better than I do, but I know him from his reputation, very, very intense.
Yes.
And Allen said he cornered a couple of the pitchers in the dugout during the game and threatened all sorts of unpleasantry if they gave up any more 0-2 base hits.
What's wrong with that?
Here we go again. Baseball is supposed to be a gentleman's game. But let's put it this way. Bob Gibson was very ungentlemanly in his challenging his pitchers. Don't give up any more 0-2 base hits. 2-1.
Well, the hitter's supposed to be on the defense when you're, ahead 0-2. And, sometimes you have to brush them back and repeat inside to kind of open up the outer half of the plate. And kind of the school that I was brought up in with watching Gibson and, say, a Don Drysdale.
3-1.
They were not gentlemen. Between the lines.
Tap to the right side. Dozier gets the lead runner. Return thrown out in time.
Yeah, make that sure. They weren't gentlemen between the lines. On this side, yes. Bob Gibson was a class act, as Don Drysdale was.
One down, a runner at first, and now Ike Davis. I always saw Bob Gibson, and whether it actually happened or not, it's a great story. Tim McCarver was his catcher, and McCarver wanted to discuss pitch sequence or something like that. You know where I'm going with it?
Yes.
McCarver comes to the mound, and this is how intense Gibson was. McCarver was his catcher for a lot of years. And Mr. Gibson said to Mr. McCarver, the only thing you know about pitching is you can't hit it. Now get your feet back behind home plate. One strike. And now a ball. 65 pitches for May, 38 strikes. I'm sure he'd like to have a 2-to-1 strike to ball ratio.
Well, again, I think we get that out of Trevor May. We have seen that in his starts, a lot of pitches in a short amount of time.
Just off the plate, and it's 2-1.
His longest outing in his first 13 starts at the major league level is 6 innings. He's done it 3 times. Longest outing this year, 6 innings against the Indians here back on April 19th. He threw 97 pitches.
Fouled into the seats, 2-2.
I think what May will learn, and most young kids do up at this level, is that you can't throw 20 pitches an inning. You have to rely sometimes on that 2-seam fastball to get you a quick ground ball to get out of an inning.
Foul off of Suzuki.
Oh boy. They got the left wrist of Kurt Suzuki. Take a look. I mean, this ball, watch the glove. Just brings the glove back. Ouch.
Look, it bent his wrist back.
Yeah.
I saw something I haven't seen before. Maybe Suzuki's done it all along. He's got the catcher's glove velcroed to his wrist. I think that's a great idea. Every once in a while, as Davis swings and misses, you'll have a play at the plate. The catcher will get his glove knocked off. And it looks like he's got it secured to his wrist with Velcro.
That was a nasty pitch right there to Ike Davis. May picking up his 3rd strikeout.
You ever seen that before?
No, I never have.
2 down, and here's Brent Laurie. Driven foul down the right field line. Laurie struck out swinging his first time up. Wasn't near the target, but it looked like it had plenty of the plate. 1-1. Nice stop by Plouffe to his left. Gets the force at second base.
It's been a vacuum cleaner over there.
Great play by Plouffe to end the inning. It's 1-0 Oakland. The Twins can have some better at-bats with their second look at Jesse Chavez. He's faced the minimum number of batters. Trevor Plouffe with a nice defensive play to get the Twins off the field. Now Dozier, Hunter, and Mauer will hit in the 4th.
Yeah, they only hit it off of Chavez so far. The Torrey Hunter base hit. 4 strikeouts.
Outside, ball 1. Dozier hit the ball hard on a line to Billy Burns in center. 2-0. walks apiece for Chavez in his last 2 starts, covering a total of 11 innings, 6 walks. Hasn't walked anybody yet here today. And there's strike 1. Pops straight up in the air. Semien comes in near the mound. 1 down. We'll bring up Torrey Hunter, who had a big 3-run home run last night.
Boy, did he ever in the 6th inning. A big 3-run home run in that 4-run bottom of the 6th inning for the Twins. That gave the Twins an 8-5 lead. Torrey's 3rd home run of the year.
Torrey has the only Twins hit, grounding a single through the hole to left, and was thrown out trying to steal. Ball 1. To the glove of Chavez. 2 down. That'll bring up Mauer.
Torrey hitting that ball sharply, but Chavez, almost when he caught that ball, they kind of went, whoa, it went right into my glove. Kept looking at it. Watch Chavez's reaction right here. Whoa. Kind of shook his head. Watch Torrey Hunter with the bat.
Bat flip got both the shin guard. 2 down, and now Mauer. Strike on the outside corner. Mauer struck out in the 1st inning while Hunter was trying to steal second base. He was thrown out handily. This is a very refreshing to see. The Twins have the best home record in the American League at 10-4. 4-2 homestand in their first string of games here at Target Field. Now the homestand mark is 6-2. Mauer sends one past a diving Sogard, a 2-out single. He's had a mini slump here, so that had to feel good. A line drive into right center field for a 2-out single.
Well, it took off something. Look at that sink on that ball, but Joe went down and hit it sharply right back off the middle. Nice pitch, but credit Joe Mauer. He hit a good pitch. Just out of the reach of Sogard.
Plouffe struck out swinging his first time up. To the right field corner, but it's going to turn right. Near the foul pole. The off day on the 14th seems to have been a turning point for the team, at least at home. They had an awful home opener and an off day the next day, and since then they've won 10 ball games out of the 13 they played. 1 strike to Plouffe. Swing and a miss, 2 strikes. It usually starts there, doesn't it? A team that's been struggling, and when they start turning things around, you usually see it first in the home record, don't you? Where you've got your fans supporting you and find a way to play better baseball.
Yeah, you want to win at home.
Plouffe swings through an 0-2 pitch. Twins are done in the 4th. Pepsi fans of the game, hoping the Twins can score some runs against Jesse Chavez, and if not him, the Oakland bullpen. Into the 5th already. Mark Canha will lead things off. May's given up 4 singles. He walked a man. Walk not involved in the scoring. Actually, could very easily be a scoreless game. We showed you Torrey Hunter trying to make a catch over by the sidewall in the right field corner. If he'd made that catch, it would have been the 3rd out of the inning, and Butler would not have delivered a single 2 pitches later to drive in a run. Canha, Sogard, and Burns. Fox Tracks presented by Chrysler. One thing we've seen more this year than I think we saw at any time last year from Trevor May, pitches that are swung on and missed.
He's got a good fastball, explosive type fastball, good hard curveball. Throwing that changeup more.
Jams him with a fastball, gets a foul back.
Now Trevor May, you're ahead in the count, 0-2. Don't make Bob Gibson come here.
Oh, 2 to Canha. 1-2.
.75 pitches, 45 strikes.
And he waited, fouled it off.
Changeup left up a little bit.
Confidence, such an important attribute, particularly when you're called up from the minor leagues and want to stay in the big leagues and want to feel deep inside that you belong up here. A foul back. When Trevor May faced the Oakland A's, he didn't have that. How could he? He had never pitched up here before, and then he had terrible time throwing strikes. The Twins gave him a appearance out of the bullpen. It was a little bit better, and then towards the end of the year things were a lot better for Trevor May as he felt more comfortable and more like he belonged here.
You know, we can talk about it, but when you're out there, you're so nervous, your opening day assignment.
Breaking ball gets a grounder to Dozier. He stumbles a little bit, 1 away.
And Trevor May, you know, he showed it too that night in Oakland. He was just rattled, and you start doubting yourself very quickly. And again, and then all of a sudden, like you said, they put him in the bullpen, let him air some things out, and then once he started to feel comfortable, I think he knows he belongs here now. He has major league stuff.
Breaking ball snaps over.
Good curveball right there for strike 1.
Swing and a miss with his tailing fastball.
And that's that 2-seamer that he's come up with. And a very good tail on it.
Center, and it's down for a hit.
Here comes Bob Gibson. 0-2 pitch left up. You're ahead in the count.
Number 9 hitter Sogard has 2 hits. May 26th is Healthcare Professionals Night at Target Field. Special ticket packages available that includes exclusive Twins branded scrubs. Limited number of ticket packages are available, and your only way to get your Twins scrubs. Visit twinsbaseball.com/healthcare for tickets and more information. Billy Burns singled, stole a base, scored a run in the first inning.
Hit into the double play in the 3rd inning on a fastball away. Hit it right to Santana. Santana stepped on second base and completed the double play. It has to be a quick one with this guy at the plate.
Down and away, ball 1.
Burns out of the Washington Nationals organization, signed by the Nationals in 2011.
There goes the runner, and Burns rolls it to Dozier. Close play. He's retired. It looked like a hit and run based on Burns' swing. He was just trying to put wood on the ball.
Yeah, that ball down and in, and Burns, kind of a defensive swing, ends up grounding out for the second out, but Sogard at second.
That'll bring up Semien. The A's got their run on a 2-out hit by Billy Butler, and they'd like to get another one here from Semien. Fly ball to center and a walk. Breaking ball. First pitch. This time it missed. Ball 1.
Good location.
Dug out nicely by Suzuki. He didn't just block it. He actually caught it and take a new baseball out to Trevor May.
They got it on the 1-hop.
White Sox, after an off day yesterday, have Adam Eaton back in the lineup after he suffered a flu. Said he lost 10 pounds. Back in the lineup, and right now the White Sox have a 5-2 lead over Detroit in the 4th inning. Kansas City leading Cleveland 3-2 in the 5th. So if the Tigers lose and the Twins win here tonight, they'll be 2 games out of first. Outside, 3-0, a base open, but red hot Reddick is on deck.
Still want to make a good pitch here.
Shaves the outside corner.
Good pitch down.
Foul back, 3-2. Three strikeouts for May in the game. He's had at least 4 strikeouts in every one of his starts, including his aborted one. And he only got 10 outs in Seattle. Full count. Fastball skied to center. Schaefer will wait and catch it.
Good job.
5 good innings for May so far. You're watching the A's and Twins, brought to you by the all-new Chrysler 200, America's import.
Worth of scratch-off tickets for Alice, who is 82 years old, and she kicked cancer's butt, not once, but twice.
Right.
And I understand this is your very first professional baseball game, is that right?
Yes, my very first, and I'm loving it.
What are your impressions of this ballpark? Beautiful night, great stadium.
I think this is gorgeous, yes.
And you told me you couldn't really decide on who your favorite Twins player was because you like them all, right?
I like them all. You bet.
Well, thank you for being here. We're glad you had a great game to enjoy so far. We'll see if the Twins can come back and get you a win.
Thank you so much, Jamie.
Chicken bird.
Yep, Alice, congratulations. Keep fighting cancer, and you're strong. You are hereby circled.
One strike to Kurt Suzuki. Kenny Vargas, Eduardo Escobar will follow. Twins haven't done much of anything against Chavez. He delivers a fastball outside, 1-1. Couple of singles. I think just one 3-ball count. It's to the gap in left center field. And nice catch by Billy Burns on the run.
You know, we have a great angle here. It's love to see center fielders with speed, how they can fill that gap. And Burns, like Jordan Schaefer for the Twins, they can go get that baseball. Ball had some hang time, allowed Burns to catch up to it and make a nice running catch.
We'll see if Vargas can make Burns run a little bit here. Vargas with a bouncer to second his first time up. Twins need something to get off the schneid here. Something like a home run. Bouncer left side. Laurie fires across, and Vargas is out on one pitch.
Well, you have to credit Chavez. I mean, he's making some good pitches. He hasn't made too many pitches that have been mistakes up. Everything has good sink on it. He's changing speeds. Even that last pitch, a good sinker down and away, and Vargas hits that ground ball to short.
Escobar lined out to Burns in center field. His first time up.
10 pitch innings, a couple 13 pitch innings.
And Escobar backs out of the box, takes strike one. On the ground, just a handful of pitches in a scoreless fifth inning. Eric Chavez is sailing along with a 1-0 lead. .200, America's import. 1-0 Oakland. A first inning run is held up so far in tonight's DraftKings players to watch. Zach Greinke, 4 shutout innings for the Dodgers. Buster Posey, good career numbers. Zamarja some early run support. And tonight, Stephen Vogt 0 for 2. And Vogt due to hit 4th this inning.
Let's hope he doesn't hit.
Excuse me, 3rd this inning.
Okay, then he will hit.
Reddick, Butler, and Vogt will hit in the 6th against Trevor May. Another off-speed pitch, that mid-70s breaking ball that he's got good control of it, and he gets it over for a get-me-over curveball.
Well, you know what? Phil Hughes does that a lot when he can throw that slow curveball for strike 1. It's a good pitch.
Down and away, 1-1.
So many major league hitters are looking fastball. They want to drive that first pitch. If you can drop that slow curveball on it like May did, get ahead in the count. 15 of 21 batters, first pitch strikes.
All called strike.
Good change up there, good location.
As for a guy who only came into this game with 66 major league innings, he looks more and more like a pitcher every time you see him.
Getting more and more confidence.
One and 2 to Reddick. He's hit 2 fly balls to Escobar and left. Up high, 2-2.
What May has done too in his first 4 starts, done a good job of keeping the ball in the ballpark. Only 1 home run allowed.
Jam shot at Suzuki.
I know what you were thinking. You mentioned something and boom, there it goes. But
only because it's happened to me about 10,000 times.
Yeah, but I'm not you.
And I think both of us are glad about that. 1 down in the 6th. There's Butler.
When I said that, I thought, oh, well, Reddick's up. He's a home run hitter. Is the timing right?
You had me last night. I was really worried last night when you were talking about what a great win it was going to be in the 9th inning. Right. We still had 3 outs to get.
Oh, I felt we were going to win.
Popped up. Mauer near the bag. 2 down. There doesn't seem to be any appreciable difference for May. First time through the order, second time through the order, third time through the order. He's got a chance to maybe have his quickest inning here in the 6th, facing the middle of the Oakland lineup. Here's Vogt.
Velocity is still good, even though he's at 96 pitches. Seen him mix in the curveball, the changeup. Missed with the changeup there. Seen what I've liked, I've seen that 2-seam fastball that has some sink on it.
Missing again, 2-0.
That's the changeup. This is part of the game right here. You don't want to make a mistake, especially to a guy like Vogt that has been hitting the long ball. There's that sinker down and away.
Since you brought up his name earlier, what did Don Drysdale say when a count got to 3-0 and a guy in the middle of the line? He's going to walk him anyway. May as well just hit him.
Just hit him.
Get something out of him. 3-1.
Stan Williams, who we were teammates back in 1970, because when he was with the Dodgers, they would negotiate. We didn't have agents back then. And they always said you walk too many guys. So what he started doing is when he fell behind 3-0, he just hit them.
Second walk issued by May. First time he's issued more than 1 walk, and I think he thought he had the outside corner there. Every weekday, gear up for the racing season with NASCAR Race Hub. The best coverage, biggest names, the most access. It's the daily show of record for NASCAR Nation. Catch NASCAR Race Hub weeknights at 5 p.m. Central only on Fox Sports 1. Streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Paul Molitor to the mound. Trevor May is a little upset. I don't know that a signal's been given yet. And he's going to take the ball from Trevor May.
I know Trevor's upset about this right here. But a good performance by Trevor May.
Pitch count getting close to 100. And he checks out again, unable to complete 6 innings, trailing 1-0. The 6th inning. Better numbers this time, just 5 hits.
I thought he pitched good. You know, he pitched a whale of a ball game, just down 1-0, 101 pitches.
Unfortunately, the Twins haven't scored yet. He can't pick up a win, and Brian Dunsing will try to get the last out of the 6th.
Well, Brian coming out of that bullpen for the 9th time, his 3rd time since being activated from the disabled list on May 2nd. Trying to get the final out here in the top of the 6th.
Mike Davis is 0 for 2. Popped up to second, struck out against Trevor May. Swing and a miss. Davis doesn't get many opportunities against left-handed pitching. Just 5 at-bats, 1 hit. No strikeouts, but just 5 at-bats against a lefty this year. One and one.
There are the splits right there.
Rain starting to fall here. A late shower. 2 and 1. And now Twins fans have wisened up or gotten used to it, I guess. They do what fans around the country do when it rains. They head back to get under some shelter. Headed up the middle, and Davis has a base hit rounding second. Vogt will go to third base, so Davis gets an at bat and a hit against the left-hander. First and third, 2 down.
Ball hit right in the right spot. Brian Dozier playing him to pull. So that kind of left up the middle open. The fastball just hit right back up the middle. Dozier diving for it. And Vogt hustling from first to third.
Remember 5 years ago when the ballpark opened up, not on the opening day against the Red Sox, but I think it was in the second game. We had a light shower like this that came down in the mid-afternoon game, and fans stayed where they were in their seats, stood and applauded the rain because it had been so long since they'd felt rain fall on them at a baseball game. 1-0 now, and suddenly a big at bat here. Twins down a run. They're struggling to get base runners, and Brent Laurie at the plate. And a base hit poked to right. The 2-out walk will come around to score, and it's 2-0.
Laurie getting a pitch away and going that way, picking up an RBI, his 14th of the year. And Vogt scoring that charge to Trevor May.
And
almost
much like the Butler hit.
Just going to say that. Yeah. That's exactly what Billy Butler did in the first inning.
Now Mark Canha is at 2 ground balls, a 2-out walk, and I know one of the first things May will do when he gets back to the clubhouse is look at that pitch. The pitch that was ball 4 to Vogt. And from up here, it looked like it was one of those borderline pitches. May didn't get the call, and the end result is another run for the A's. Dunsing's come in and given up a couple of hits, though. And gets ahead of Cano, 0-1. Two over the inside corner.
Boy, I tell you what, Dick, I hated coming out of an inning with runners on. It just puts so much more pressure on that reliever.
And Cano with a batted bat, swinging at a pitch in the dirt. A couple of hits after the walk. The A's double their lead in the 6th. June 1st. Hurry in today. Toyota, let's go places. And by Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine for the everyday competitor in all of us. Jordan Schaefer takes up and away, ball 1. Jesse Chavez pitching with a 2-0 lead. Having given up just a couple of harmless singles. Let's see if Schaefer and or Santana will hit next and try to bunt his way aboard. 1-1. Schaefer's been swinging it pretty good.
Yeah, Laurie's in. He's in at third, so you're going to try to take the bunt that way. It looked like Schaefer wanted to take that ball with him, meaning toward first base. You get that ball past the pitcher towards second. You get an infield base hit. You see Laurie right there in on the grass, a third baseman.
Swing and a miss. 1-2. Rain coming down pretty steadily here. Supposed to get any rain tonight. The rain issues were supposed to be throughout the game tomorrow night and Thursday. 1-2 on the outside corner, 1 away.
Boy, has he been hitting his spot. Strikeout number 6 for Chavez.
Time now to take a look at the road ahead presented by Chrysler, and the road ahead begins with 2 more home games, then 3 in Cleveland, a day off, 3 in Detroit, and a very brief homestand against the, surprising to many, Tampa Bay Rays. Then on the road again, Pittsburgh and Chicago. Here's Santana. Bunted in the air. And a very poor bunt by Santana. 2 down. Trying to do too much too quickly, I suspect. And suddenly 6 in a row sent down by Jesse Chavez. Dozier lined out to center and popped up to short. Up and away, ball 1. And now 2-0.
Chavez 6 strikeouts in the ball game, no walks. Only a couple singles allowed.
My memory right, just 1 3-ball count. If so, this is the second. Will take a 2-out walk to convert, as the A's did in the top of this inning. 3-1.
Yeah, he went 3-2 to Joe Mauer in the first inning.
So this is just the second.
Yes.
Dozier takes strike 2. You're right about him working fast. Gets the ball back from Vogt. Gets right back on the rubber. Looks into the catcher for his sign. 3-2 to Brian Dozier. Another one hit to center. Burns back. Plenty of room. It appears, in fact, he had to go back and then come in. It's a 1-2-3-6 for Jesse Chavez.
In the first inning, Billy Butler with an RBI single made it a 1-0 ball game, and then last inning in the 6th, Corey getting an RBI single. Trevor Bay 5 2/3 innings, both runs charged to him, a couple walks, 3 strikeouts as he leaves the ball game. And Jesse Chavez has been almost perfect. A couple singles off of him, 6 strikeouts, no walks. So far, pitching a whale of a ball game.
To the 7th, 2-0, and the rain, if anything, coming down a little harder. Wonder if you could at the next inning break. I think I left my windows open. I'll give you the keys to my car, and then you can go down and roll up the windows. We worked together 21 years. I thought we were past needing to pay each other for favors.
To go out in the rain, I might melt.
2 strikes to Eric Sogard, and then Billy Burns, and then Marcus Semien. 1-2.
Dozier came in with a runner at first base, gave up 2 straight hits, and that created the second run.
Dunsing on in relief.
Dunsing, excuse me.
There's a swing and a miss by Sogard. Back-to-back strikeouts after the back-to-back singles.
Dunsing picking up his second strikeout. Good breaking ball right here. Good location. Sogard way out front.
After spending some time on the disabled list, I suppose it's plausible that Dunsing needs this. Just a little time out there to sharpen some things up. Line foul off the facing of the Twins dugout, right over the right shoulder of the Twins manager. Wow. That was close. Ball hit right up there about where that carrier spot sign is, I believe. 1 strike to Burns. Left center field and pushed toward Schaefer, who's able to get the retrieve quickly back into the infield. Escobar cut across, had the ball deflect off his glove, and Schaefer alertly picked it up, holding Burns to a single.
Yeah, ball looked like it kept drifting away from Escobar. He was able to knock it down, which slowed the ball down. This ball gets by him. It's extra base hits. Escobar and then Schaefer right there backing up the play. Just out of his reach. But you can see got a piece of the glove, which slowed it down. So Burns with his second hit.
Now Semien and then another left-handed batter, Reddick. Up and away, ball 1. During the inning break, the grounds crew dragged the infield. Didn't put any treatment on the mound. One poked to the opposite field. Semien has a hit. First and second, 1 away. Dunsing's faced 6 men, giving up 4 singles.
Another good at bat right here. Semien to pitch away. And almost like deja vu all over again. These guys are just taking that pitch to right field. Saw Butler do it. Laurie did it. And right there, Semien did it.
One down. Reddick, the batter. He's 0 for 3. And with right hand hitting Billy Butler up next. Hustling to get Michael Tonkin warmed up.
Got Neil Allen going out. Take a little extra time to let Tonkin get some throws in down in the bullpen.
You can follow Twins baseball all year in 2015 with MLB.com At Bat, the #1 app for live baseball. At Bats up to the moment, at any moment, with in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcast, statcast, and more. Get MLB.com At Bat for your smartphone or tablet. A's out hitting the Twins 9-2. All 9 hits have been singles.
Oakland came into this ball game hitting .268 as a ball club. That's 4th best in the American League. And only the Toronto Blue Jays have scored more runs than the Oakland A's.
Lefty Aaron Thompson is warming up now with Tonkin. Twins wanted Dunsing to at least get through the 7th here, but now there's suddenly a scoring threat. Reddick pops it up. Infield fly rule will be called. 2 down, and we'll see whether the Twins make a move with Butler coming up with 2 men on. Paul Mahler talking with Joe Favre. The move will be made. 2 on, 2 out. And Tonkin figures to come in to try to get the Oakland designated hitter and keep this a 2-0 ball game. Dunsing ended up facing 7 men, but gave up 4 singles. He departs, and we have a pitching change. Inherited runner to come around and score against Dunsing this year. And now Michael Tonkin will hope to get the last out of the 7.
Tonkin making his 3rd relief appearance since being called up when Casey Fiend was put on a disabled list on April 30th. Tonkin, a hard throwing right-hander with a good slider, occasional changeup. He last pitched on Saturday against the White Sox, just a 1/3 of an inning.
Butler drove in the first run back in the 1st inning with an opposite field single. Got another base hit up the middle. Trevor May got him to pop up to Mauer the 3rd time he faced him. And Tonkin with the inside move and a look back at Burns at second base. A's have some speed out there. Burns runs very well. So does Semien. They're the base runners with 2 out. On the corner, strike 1. Just missed the same spot at 94. 1-1. Called up in part because the Twins saw some improvement in his slider. Now he falls behind with the fastball.
Tonkin back down in AAA, 7 1/3 innings, had 10 strikeouts in 8 relief appearances.
Tapper left side. Plouffe digs it out nicely. Again going to his left. Over to Mauer to end the inning. Tonkin gets his out. Another nice play by the Twins' 3rd baseman.
presented by the authority of the Minnesota Twins and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Minnesota Twins, LLC.
See if Torrey Hunter can get aboard. The Twins have just 2 hits against Chavez. They have not gotten a leadoff man on. The hit in the first inning by Hunter was with 1 out. The hit by Mauer in the 4th inning was with 2 outs. Twins very much in the game, even though they have just the 2 singles. All 11 hits in this game have been singles. A belt high strike. Hunter pulled a single through the hole to left in the first and then hit a hard 1-hopper back to Chavez in the 4th. Fouled back, 2 strikes.
One thing about Chavez, he's throwing strikes. 65 pitches, 44 strikes. Ready to throw the next one toward home plate. A little trouble with the footing out there.
It's a Twins team that in this homestand has averaged about 6.5 runs a game. It's a tapper, foul. Another example of the fundamentals of baseball, the pitching. Change speeds, hit your spots, get ahead, stay ahead. Regardless of how the other team is swinging the bats, it's a pretty good recipe for success. And Hunter waits on a breaking pitch and grounds a single to left. Second hit for Hunter, and the leadoff man is on in the 7th.
Yeah, 0-2 breaking ball that kind of hung, and Torrey gets the 3rd hit, his 2nd.
The Twins Wives Organization fundraiser to benefit children and families in need will take place tomorrow. Returning for another year is the ever popular ball in a bag, guaranteeing you an autographed baseball in every bag, along with other great items. New this year is an aluminum water bottle in your choice of red or blue. Stop by the new location Wednesday, May 6th, directly behind the Great Clips, Great Seats. Here is Mauer, 1 on, nobody out. Mauer takes strike 1. Mauer 2nd on the team to Dozier in doubles with 7, and a double here would change the complexion of things quite quickly. Not as much as a home run. That would really change the complexion.
Yes, it would.
Checked his swing, and it's a delayed strike call 2. 0-2 now to Mauer. They just put that rubber mat with the spikes in it. They nailed it to the back of the mound, spiked it to the back of the mound, and Chavez went back to clear his spikes. On the outside corner, and Chavez paints the corner to Mauer and gets him to take 3 strikes.
Strikeout number 7.
That'll bring up Plouffe.
Again, working quickly and hitting his spots.
One down, and now Plouffe, who has struck out twice against Chavez. In the dirt, ball 1.
Funny, Chavez is going back a couple times to clean off the mud, because between innings I saw the umpire ask him, do you want any diamond dust out there, and he said no.
Pitcher has that prerogative. He can either ask for it or decline it, I guess.
Well, while he was warming up, he didn't seem to have any trouble with his footing, and that's why I think he said he didn't really need it.
Bloof takes ball 2. Brewers haven't had a runner to second base. Rain's lightening up a little bit. At the knees, 2-1.
And that's what he's been able to do. If he does fall behind, he comes back in with a good strike down in the strike zone.
Didn't do anything against him last year, and they've done even less tonight so far. 2-1. 3-1. Suzuki on deck.
See if he gets a hittable pitch here. Pitch number 75 for Chavez.
Ball 4. First walk by Chavez. And the first time the Twins have touched second base. And Suzuki will come up with 2 men aboard. Suzuki with a strikeout in the second. Hit a fly ball to center in the 5th. Actually hit the ball pretty good, but Burns was able to track it down in front of the bullpen. Hunter at second. Bloof at first. Box Tracks presented by Carrier. Hit right to Burns. And Hunter will advance. 2 down, and Vargas will come up with runners on the corners. Vargas 0 for 2, a couple of ground balls.
Time for a home run here.
Well, that's what I tried to promote in his 5th inning at bat. And he hit a ground ball to Laurie, who was shifted over from his third base position.
Okay, that's it.
High fly to left. Canna makes a catch. Twins leave 2 aboard in the 7th. Nothing lead, trying to break the Twins' 5-game winning streak. Carsoup.com preview question. I'm going to go Yogi Berra.
Go Carl Fisk.
Just Johnny Bench. I think that I knew that he was a great home run hitter. I didn't know that he ever led the National League. Aaron Thompson will come out of the Twins bullpen to pitch to the A's here in the 8th, at least to Stephen Vogt and Ike Davis.
Yeah, Thompson worked in last night's ball game, 1+ innings. Had a 1-2-3 inning and then a leadoff bunt. And he came out of the ball game, and that runner later scored.
Vogt drew the 2-out walk against Trevor May. May left the ball game. Dunson came in, gave up a couple of hits and another run, and that made it 2-0. Thompson gets ahead, 0-2.
Yeah, Thompson faced Vogt last night, able to strike him out in the 7th inning. Remember, he quick pitched him.
Struck him out. Using normal rhythm out there on 3 pitches. 1 away.
Oh, good slider right here. Breaking ball. Great location.
Bring up Ike Davis, another left-handed batter. The A's have scored 7 runs in each of their last 4 games, but are just 2-2. Now here we are in the late innings. They've only scored 2 runs and they've got a lead. Tap toward first, a foul ball. 1 strike. Just sprinkling now. Nothing of any magnitude in terms of precipitation. It's easy for me to see. I have a roof over. I have a roof over my head. I'm standing out in the concourse getting rained on, or out in the plaza. I might think it's more than a sprinkle.
And your car should be safe. Shouldn't have too much water in it.
He never did go out and roll up the window.
No, I did not.
2 strikes to Ike Davis.
Did not like the offer.
Back to Thompson. And having gotten the 2 left-handed batters, we'll see if he's left in to face Laurie here.
Paid attendance just over 18,000. 18,135.
It's like the Twins will let Thompson, who's been effective against righties and lefties, try to finish off the 8th inning here. Laurie drove in a run with an opposite field single in the 6th against Brian Dunsing. Slow breaking ball way outside, ball 1. Speed pitch, missing 2-0. Middle. Twins are pretty encouraged with Presley warmed up, ready to come into the game should the inning be extended. Fly ball right field. Looks like Thompson's done it again. Pretty quick. 1-2-3, 8th inning.
Chavez is on the mound to start this inning. He has been in control all night long, and he's one of the guys who'll take a closer look. And Twins Live, presented by CenturyLink, immediately following this game. We'll also look at how the small ball has really hurt the Twins here so far tonight. Not a lot of offense, but Oakland with a 2-0 lead. We'll also go inside the clubhouse and hear from Twins manager Paul Molitor on Twins Live immediately after the game, guys.
All right, thank you, Jamie. 1-0 now to Eduardo Escobar, leading off the bottom of the 8th for the Twins. They at least put together a threat against Chavez in the 7th after getting their leadoff man on for the first time tonight. 1-1. Doink behind third. Glory in foul ground makes the catch, 1 away.
Well, Chavez doing it against the ball club over the last 10 ball games. The Twins have been hitting .314 as a team, averaging 6.5 runs, a lot of extra base hits, and they've won 8 of the last 10. So quite a performance for Jesse Chavez so far.
Chavez with 1 out, now facing Jordan Schaefer. That's laced to left center field. It's down for a hit, and Schaefer has a 1-out single. That'd be the hardest hit ball tonight.
Chavez hasn't made too many mistakes. He left that pitch up, and good piece of hitting by Schaefer, just taking that pitch the other way. Jesse Chavez, 7 strikeouts, only 1 walk. Attacking the strike zone, working quickly.
Corners and the edges of the strike zone and didn't put much of anything down the middle. Santana will bat. Struck out in the 3rd on 3 pitches and then tried to bunt his way aboard on the first pitch of the 6th and popped it up to the catcher. Schaefer checked it first. I asked Schaefer whether he feels he's been drawing more attention because of his history as a base stealer this year. He said no. He says he just can't run as fast as he would if he were healthy. He's got a bad toe and a bad knee. They're both on the same leg, and he just doesn't feel he is as fast as he would be or will be when he gets healthy.
Yeah, he attempted to steal a base last night in the 4th inning, ended up getting caught. But base hit right here, he can scoot to 3rd.
Foul back to the screen, 1-1. Last time the Twins were 3 games over 500, it was the end of the 2010 season when the American League Central champions. 1-1. 2-1. Would love to roll the lineup over with Dozier coming up and 2 men on base. Big at bat here for Danny Santana. The fact that the clay is a little clumpy because of the rain, and a bit of rain still following here in the 8th inning.
Mentioned before, Chavez just making his 26th major league start. His longest outing is 8 innings. He did that last year against the White Sox.
Santana takes up and away, 3-1. Last night Santana drew his first walk of the year on a bunt attempt. Never really got a pitch to bunt. Walked on 4 pitches. This would be a more critical walk if he could get it and get Dozier up. And he might have swung a ball for it. 3-2.
Do not look for Schaefer to take off here.
Right. Why?
I just think, Twins need base runners right here.
Yeah.
You don't want to be thrown out trying to steal a base on a 3-2 pitch. Torrey Hunter was thrown out in the first inning after Joe Mauer struck out.
Schaefer stays put. The pitch grounded to Davis. Firing into left field. Schaefer to third. Santana will hold up at first. And the A's defense again betrays them.
Davis had a real good opportunity to tag first base and then throw to second. And he decided to get the force out at second base. And the ball thrown into left field. And he's right there by the bag. Wild throw.
Chavez very animated. He was angered behind the mound about the air, and now he stalks off the mound.
Oh, he pitched a whale of a ball game. It'll be an air charge to Davis at first base.
A's bullpen has been pretty leaky, and the Twins have a chance in the 8th. Twins fans, the fact that Chavez is out of the game sitting in the dugout, the Twins have a couple of men on with one out. Evan Scribner's been outstanding for the A's. They've got some bullpen issues, but they don't center around him.
Yeah, Scribner's not one of them. A 1.17 ERA, making his 13th relief appearance. 15 1/3 innings, only 8 hits allowed. He has given up a couple home runs, a couple walks, but 18 strikeouts.
The only runs he has allowed have come on 2 solo home runs. Luis Valbuena and Adrian Beltre. Dozier at the plate, tying run at first, 1 away. The outfield could not be playing any deeper than they are right now. They do not want Dozier to get a game-tying double. And the A's want to keep an eye on Santana. It's his run they're most concerned about. His is the tying run. A drive down the left field line. And foul. One strike. Oh, and 1 to Dozier. Santana checked again. Nearly to the backstop. A great stop by Stephen Vogt. I think highlight films and collections of great plays don't do plays like this justice.
I agree.
You'll never see that play on a highlight reel, but that saved one run and maybe the ball game by game's end for the A's. Swing and a miss, 1-2.
Scribner in his 4th season with the A's.
8 appearances without a run allowed for Scribner. Taken low. Take with 2 strikes, 2-2. Two to Brian Dozier. Not yet.
Good take.
Good take. How do you take that pitch? 3-2. Different situation. You start Santana here.
Torrey Hunter on deck. Let's see what Paul decides to do.
Santana goes and chopped foul. Twins with 10 wins at home, the most dramatic win at home on a Trevor Plouffe walk-off home run. This would be a big hit in the 8th if Dozier can provide it. Up the middle, a base hit. Santana was off. He'll gain third base. And he will be held there. Dozier has put the Twins on the board. The tying run 90 feet away.
Good piece of hitting by Brian Dozier. Looked like that ball was down, but he just got it into short center field. Picks up an RBI, his 14th of the year.
Keep an eye on Santana. Remember, it was Santana who scored under a similar circumstance from first base on a single.
He's rounding the bag right here, keeping an eye on his third base coach, and Gene Glenn holding him up right there.
So Scribner can't get the out with the tying run 90 feet away. Another bullpen move for the A's. Oakland pitcher who's been pretty good for the A's, Tyler Clippard.
Yeah, Clippard coming over from the Washington Nationals in a trade over the winter. And last night, Torrey Hunter in the 6th inning. And a pitch from Alvarez, a fastball in, and hit that big 3-run home run. His 3rd home run of the year.
The Oakland bullpen this year is 0-8. A's have lost 7 straight 1-run games. They're in one now. They're leading by a run. Hunter at the plate. Taken down and in, ball 1. A's, of course, hoping for an inning-ending double play.
Chipper with a fastball, sharp curveball, and then that last pitch, a very good circle changeup.
Two and 0. Wouldn't take much of a fly ball at all to score Danny Santana from 3rd. 2-0 to Hunter. Popped up.
Get out of here.
Near the Twins dugout. Davis has no play. 3 feet closer to the field, and he might have been able to reach it. And Torrey just hanging his head. I think he got a pitch he felt he could do something with, and he popped it straight up in the air.
Just got underneath that high fastball.
Two and 1 to Hunter. Swing and a miss through the breaking ball.
That's that changeup. He has a good one.
Saw 10 1/3 innings, 7 strikeouts, but he really needs to get Hunter here on strikes.
Big hole between 1st and 2nd.
2-2 to Hunter. Up high, 3-2. Mauer on deck. There have been some really good takes here in the last 2 at bats. Dozier took a couple of borderline pitches with 2 strikes, and now Hunter with 1 up above the belt. Full count to Torrey Hunter. Struck him out. A fastball for out number 2.
A lot of off-speed pitches, and then Chipper throwing that 91-mile-an-hour fastball past Torrey. So that changeup may have been in the back of Torrey's mind, trying to maybe just foul it off, but swings through it.
Well, the Twins need a 2-out hit from Mauer here to get the game tied up. A couple of strikeouts and a single. Joe was called out on strikes. He took 3 pitches. A strikeout in the 7th. And the dirt smothered by Vogt. And Perkins is warmed up in the Twins pen. Should they get at least the tying hit here in the 8th. Ryan Presley also warmed up out there. Two and 0. Perkins got the save last night. Two and 0 to Mauer. Fouled back. Change up again.
Change up left up.
He's trying to take full advantage of the Davis error. Two and one. 3-1. Plouffe on deck. To Mauer. At the knees, a full count. Dozier will leave early from first. Joe's been in a hitting slump anyway, but he's in a bit of a strikeout rut as well. 2 more again tonight.
How about a gapper right here? 3-2. Brian Dozier will get a head start.
Full count to Mauer. Tough left center field, hanging in the air for Canna, and that ends it. And the Twins get one, but leave 2. It's a 2-1 ball game. Had a run in the first inning, added another one in the 6th. They lead it 2-1. Timeout for what's next. Brought to you by Century Link. Scott Kazmir going for the A's. Kyle Gibson for the Twins. The Twins will face 2 left-handed starters for the balance of this series.
Kazmir may be making his 6th start, as Kyle Gibson is. Both of them pitching well.
Mark Canha will lead things off against Ryan Presley. First pitch fouled back into the seats, 1 strike.
Presley just making his 2nd appearance. He did a great job here on Sunday after Mike Pelfrey kind of lost his control in the 4th inning. Ended up working 2 2/3 innings. Got the win in that 13-3 win over the White Sox. Didn't allow a hit. No walks, 3 strikeouts in that outing.
Popped up, this one playable. Mauer. And foul ground, 1 away. That'll bring up Sogard. No activity in the Oakland bullpen because their closer may have saved the game for them in the 8th. Clippard is their closer. He asked to get not a 4-out save, but a 5-out save. Swing and a foul, 1 strike. Sean Doolittle on the disabled list. He would be their closer. Got a shoulder strain. They hope to get him back soon. A little bit low, 1-1. Just joined us. The A's got a run in the first, a run in the 6th. Both runs charged to Trevor May, who left after 5 2/3 innings. A's have been stitching the end of the game together with an assortment of relievers. Now Presley before him, Tonkin, Dunsing, Thompson. Twins didn't score till the bottom of the 8th. Fouled off a leg, and it's 2-2.
Yeah, credit Jesse Chavez, 7 1/3 innings, and that run that the Twins got is an unearned run. Mike Davis making the throwing error.
2-2. That's to the left. Escobar with the catch out, number 2. And we'll get us to Billy Burns. Twins are due in the bottom of the 9th to have the middle of their lineup starting with Trevor Plouffe. Presley was granted the win because of his effective relief work. And the Twins were able to survive a short start by Mike Pelfrey. Swing and a miss.
Yeah, he retired all 8 batters he faced on Sunday with 3 strikeouts.
All it would take would be one more out here in the top of the inning and 2 Twins runs in the bottom, and he'd get another win.
Become a vulture.
Good teams have those.
Yes, they do.
Whether it's remember Joe Roa was with the Twins, and I'll think of his name during the commercial break.
I remember Bill Campbell back in the 70s won 17 ball games out of the bullpen. Good curveball right there.
Over for a strike.
Straight over the top. Presley in his 3rd season with the Twins, getting called up when Tim Stauffer was put on a disabled list back on May 1st.
Chopped foul. Strike 3. Suzuki catches it in the air. It's a good inning for Ryan Presley. We'll see if the Twins have a comeback.
Get him going
for the bottom of the 9th. It'll be Plouffe leading off the ninth. Then Kurt Suzuki, Kenny Vargas due up. The pitcher whose name I couldn't think of, but I did eventually, Tony Fiore in 2002, won 10 games out of the bullpen. Clippard got the last 2 outs of the 8th, but now must get 3 more in the 9th.
Now, Oakland has only 3 saves. Clippard has 2, and tonight's starter Chavez has the other.
Sam Fuld is in left field for the A's. Plouffe takes a strike over the inside corner. Red Sox beat the Tigers 5-2, ending their 5-game losing streak. The A's are hoping to end the Twins' 5-game winning streak. Time called.
The ball came out of the stands. Laurie throwing it back up.
One strike to Trevor Plouffe. And now a ball. It's something Paul Molitor has said Glenn Perkins will be asked to do from time to time. Game's on the line. Get more than 3 outs. We may need you for a 4th or a 5th out. Little roller to short. Semien across to Davis, 1 away.
One thing Clippard has, we saw that fastball 91-92 that he threw past Torrey Hunter, but that changeup, very, very good circle changeup, and Trevor Plouffe, I think, got that changeup right there and hit that ground ball to short.
Here is Suzuki. Clippard with 36 major league saves, 32 of them when he was the closer for the Nationals in 2012. Suzuki takes high. Suzuki with a strikeout in the 2nd, then a pair of flyouts to center. A's in no doubles defense. That means the third baseman Laurie is about 4 feet from the line, and the outfielders are playing very deeply. Lifted to right. Reddick out number 2. That'll leave this game in the hands of Kenny Vargas. Vargas hitless. Has put the ball in play 3 times. Has not hit the ball hard yet in tonight's game.
Good time to hit it hard right here. Clippard has given up 1 home run. This being his 11th appearance.
Over, strike 1. If Vargas can extend the game, just keep the game alive, Escobar is due up next. Peeled foul over the screen, and Clippard's ahead quickly, 0-2.
2 straight changeups at 77 miles an hour.
Kansas City beat Cleveland 5-3. Inside with a fastball. He's adjusting their infield defense. Now they've got Semien swung over on the right side. One and 2. Up and in, 2-2.
Two changeups, 2 fastballs, and a changeup.
That was predictable, wasn't it?
Yes.
And the A's win a one-run ball game. Tom Hanneman, they scored the first run of the game and ended up winning by one, and the Twins' 5-game winning streak is over.
Dick, Oakland's struggling bullpen finally provides some relief in a 2-1